Is it time, Master?
It's time, Proxy.
Then let's get started, Master.
Well, we have to make sure that the porgs aren't watching. Ahsoka Tano, or Ahsoka series, or just Ahsoka. 8 out of 10. Now, I want to start this video off with saying that due to the fact that I want people to hear me out on what was good and what was bad. Let's start with what was good. What was good is for good is seeing Ezra again, Sabine, and everybody from Rebels except for Zeb Orrelios, which I feel like is one of the bad things we on the list because we needed to see Zeb, even though he's probably really expensive to keep on screen. Anyway, um, what was good was the fact that we saw the Rebels characters that we could be able to see. We got to see Anakin Skywalker, which was awesome. We got to see a pseudo dream world between worlds where Ahsoka was having kind of one of those Force Jedi Temple challenge missions, dream sequences test. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I loved the characters, the new characters that we got a chance to see in the world that was just so like immersed. We haven't had a live action series of Star Wars where the characters actually felt like the world was bigger than it normally is. In Boba Fett, that they had a bunch of random background characters, sure, and in the Mandalorian they had other random background characters. But this was the first time we ever seen like ships out in space that were just like a crap ton instead of it just being just the stars and the Razor Quest. We got a chance to see people actually truly interact with more people than just people just sitting down. I enjoyed to see that. We saw alien animals and creatures and stuff that were really, really interesting. I really felt like we were back in Star Wars again. Uh, huh. So, yes, Ahsoka, her costume changes, her her vibe changes. Hu Yang being an absolute lad, absolute Chad, absolute droid 101. I don't know how to describe him. He was just plain awesome. Oh, and just spoilers. Remember, this is a spoiler review. The father, the brother, and the sister all right there at the end. The stones, statues, and temples, and all that stuff. Wow. Oh, I'm tired. Oh boy. There was so much good stuff that I can't really explain without having to script it. So for the next part of the session, I will be scripting that part. But this part is just my overall thoughts and opinions and stuff like that. What was bad about it was the fact that the characters were very slow paced. The characters were very, all right, okay, okay. Ugh. It just the characters didn't have any energy. It was like okay, we need every character to be serious face, serious. Let them be super serious. This is how you act, serious. No. Oh, fucking hell! The show would have been a 9 out of 10, maybe even a 10 if it was like that. I mean, if it wasn't like that. God damn! The characters. Sabine only had like two parts in an eight episode season. Had only two parts where she actually felt like she was frustrated and emotional and energetic, and it was just like, and she did it. The only time she did it was she was yelling at a dog. And the other time she was just upset at the fact that she got stabbed and she was she fell and almost died. Uh, Here's my lightsaber. Anyway, Sabine's character is just the actress was fine. I had a problem with her at first when I was watching the trailers, and I was like, oh, they kept her hair. Oh my god, and it wasn't like this buzz cut look that she had in Rebels. But you know what? It grew on me, and she cut her hair just like Kanan did. I respect that. That made me love it even more. Never judge a book by its cover, but I do have my own critiques and comments that I'm keeping to myself until I watch the series. And I did watch the series, and I loved it. The only thing is that Sabine's character was just not in it. I wish she had as much emotion as she did in Rebels. And you can argue at the fact that, oh, it's been 10 years since Rebels and all this other stuff happened and now she's probably just a really serious character. True, but you're wrong. A lot of the times, including myself, have a lot of people who don't really change their true characteristics. Yes, they can be a little bit more mature. Like me, I'm not such just a lovable idiot kind of goofball. I've got some serious qualities in me to where I can actually be mature at mature situations. But she was fun. She was not fun in this series. She was more just like, hey, Sabine's here. That's all you get. And I was like, okay. She's a Mandalorian, and she is the most calmest Mandalorian I've ever seen. Even Bo Katan had more like, I'm going to shoot you vibes. But she also, like, Bo Katan's whole character was pretty much how she was from the cartoon to how she was in live action. I, bleh. But Sabine was a lot more fun. We didn't see her truly do any spray painting. She could have literally spray painted like her shoulder pad or maybe even her whole entire outfit, little bit, to show that she's Ahsoka's apprentice again. I would have loved to see something like that, to where she was like, "Okay, I'm ready to go," and then you're like, "Oh wow, really? See now that's cool," because it's like, "Yes, yes, okay, you're the apprentice, cool." And it seems like the shows of Star Wars aren't afraid to do flashbacks. Cool, that is awesome. That is awesome. But it's the whole situation of we never see Ahsoka and Sabine go through this whole training thing that they claim that they've been doing for the past like 10 years, even if it's been like a hiatus in between that time. I would have loved to see Ahsoka train her in such in a pseudo way that reminisced of that, and we could have, or at least seen the fact that she modified Ezra's lightsaber to be, Ezra's lights. I mean, Sabine's new lightsaber. That would have been cool to see. Oh, it's easier to critique something by just going off of the bad stuff. Because it's, what is it called? Sorry. Let me back up. Oh, it's been a minute since I've done a video with a bunch of stuff going on in my life. Anyway, I wish that there was more emotion to come out of Sabine. Her entire character was just apparently I am the worst Jedi candidate ever. So I'm not even gonna try. And that's the whole entire thing. That was her whole character, and it was cool to see her on screen. She did some cool things. She had some cool moments. But the thing is, her whole overall character. If I had to give her a character on a character scale of like all these characters, I would say she would rank, if it was at like from a top 10 thing. Like she would probably be like, I'd say one being absolutely terrible and 10 being great. I would give her overall character a 5 out of 10 because her character her character was literally like, I guess, a shell of her former self. I would say her whole character just felt hollow. Like people were like, we don't want you to do this and we don't want you to do that because we feel like if people see you act like this, they don't think that you're a strong, independent female woman. But if you don't do this the way we have to do it, so we're like you're just a meh character, then people will think that you're better at it if you're like that. Because if you are like that, then we will it'll be an awesome character. Just be stern and mean and straight faced all the time. Don't have any emotion with your face because all the makeup that's been on your face until this entire from episode 1 to episode 8, you've had that makeup on for that long, and just don't hurt me. Just don't you. That's how it felt. It really just felt like someone was too afraid to make Sabine have any other emotion besides, ugh, ugh, That was it. That was her whole character. She did, like I said, she did some really cool things. She ended up being really, really interesting when, well, not really interesting. Hi, Rye. Hi. I got a cat right here. I guess Rye is going to be always a part of these videos. Right, Proxy?
So what you're saying, Master, is that Sabine, being this character, destroyed her character more than actually being a part of the story and actually focusing her character into someone who is more approachable and relatable. And she was not relatable in this series due to the fact that she was a blank character. No emotion, just blank. And when she did show emotion, it felt not genuine.
Right, you are. And he pretty much pseudo said it right. Pretty much, she just didn't feel relatable. She didn't feel, she had like I said, she only had a few moments to just be, to have those interesting moments, but they felt, what's the word? Not minuscule. I can't really think of the word. She felt like she was hollow. She felt like she didn't fully commit to the role. Like someone, like I was just saying with the bit a second ago, that someone was just telling her to be this way because if you're too energetic, if you're too like the character from the old, it won't seem like she's mature enough to be in the world, And so I'm like, that takes you out of it. Most of the characters in the show acted this way. Everybody there was no character besides Huyang and Ezra that actually felt like their own different character. Everybody just felt they just felt not they just felt serious all the time. But the thing was, the vibe of it was actually really cool. The vibe, the way, oh god, I gotta redo this. Ooh.
Master,
Oh.
what's wrong, Master?
Well, besides the noise that's going on outside, I can't think straight on this matter. Like, everything in media, movies, TV shows, and comic books and video games have been destroyed because of the focus on these, like, agendas or whatever you want to call them. Oh. I don't know how to explain it. It's just the fact that when it comes to media or not media, franchises, we all seem to just like for the past like couple of years have just started to like push out the focus of something. It could be just one thing. Remember, like in the Matrix, or sorry, not Matrix, Hollywood with the Matrix. With Hollywood, there was a saying in Red versus Blue, one of the first seasons of Red versus Blue. Tucker ended up saying something on the lines of Hollywood doesn't understand apocalypse. They think that one thing goes away and the whole thing blows up. And they said Matrix One was that they took away was sunlight, and the world just was bad. I mean, there was more to it than that, but that kind of actually is kind of accurate to what I'm trying to get at. But instead of it being like inside the movie, someone ate a radioactive cheeseburger and then zombies happened. It was like, okay, this radioactivity and fast food made people turn into eating monster zombies. Well, now instead of that being radioactive cheeseburger, that radioactive cheeseburger is a person's gender, race, or what they affiliate as, or their just sexuality in general. I'm kind of getting really sick and tired of, for the past like 7-8 years have been nothing but sorry, I do that with my hands, I talk with my hands. With the past handful of years have been focusing so heavily on these specific aspects. I've said it in a video before, I believe, but one of my favorite characters who was written, and he's homosexual. I don't know if he's bisexual in real life, but I do know he's homosexual in the show. Mr. Terrific from Arrow. One of the coolest characters in the show was Mr. Terrific. He was so cool. He was happy-go-lucky. He was the goofy guy. He was the tech guy, and then he became a hero who had a secret identity and still had his husband at home. But then he had more character development with his husband being there to getting worried about him and saying that you're not the same person who I used to know. You're not the same person who I fell in love with. They said that he was he knows martial arts now. He's fighting thugs. He's coming home late. He thought at first he might have been cheating on him, or maybe he was part of a gang and stuff like that. And he didn't tell him because of the whole secret identity thing. With original comics, where things were a little bit more structured, even though comics can go way out of proportion, but there were specific storylines and story beats that you have to hit to make a story more appealing. And he got a divorce in I think it was like season 3 or 4 when Mr. Terrific came out, and basically he ended up being getting a divorce with his husband, which is tragic, but it didn't stop him from being a hero. He still wanted to be a hero. I don't remember if he ended up hashing things out with his husband, or maybe it just never was brought up again. But the thing is, the character himself was interesting, and it wasn't because of his sexuality. It was because of the situations that led him to being Mr. Terrific, and being Mr. Terrific either full-time or just being able to exist as a hero and a person at the same time. Just because he was gay doesn't mean that you need to focus so heavily on the gay aspect. So what, he's gay. They didn't bring it up again that he was. If he went on a date with somebody, it was because it was part of his character, not his whole character in general. And so when it comes to like a female character, and even if it doesn't have anything to do with her sexuality, it's this stern-faced person. Why I didn't say anything about Ahsoka at first was because we've known Ahsoka to be a certain way throughout her life. When the first couple of seasons of the Clone Wars, Ahsoka was literally this energetic little girl that nobody either liked or related to a little too much. When I first seen Ahsoka in the movie, The Clone Wars, I was upset because I like Starkiller, and I was like, that's Anakin's apprentice. He was super cool, and he was a Sith, and he was a secret apprentice and all that stuff. I thought that was genuinely awesome growing up.
And so it made me be like, I don't like Ahsoka as a little kid. But the thing is, I gave her a chance anyway. And so when I watched this movie and saw that she was doing the backwards lightsaber like Star Killer, and I'm like, man, that she stole that from Star Killer. But the thing, as the movie went on, and she went up to the part, it was like almost at the end of the movie where she was like being, well, three things she said throughout the movie. Anakin asked her, "What are you trying to prove anyway?" And she said that I'm not too young to be a Jedi. And another one was the fact that she started to get the dynamic between her and Anakin, and they just felt like a fun group of characters, the two pair. And then at the end of it, she was fighting those droids, and she finally won by herself with a baby on her back, and her master went away from her, and because he didn't hear her, he didn't see her, and she said being a Jedi is harder than she thought, which also was like gave me a little bit of a realization that it's not like the movies and TV shows that you grew up with. Like if as a kid, you think you can shoot guns, and then someone shoots you, and then you're like, no, I didn't do that, no. You can't shoot me because I shot you first, but you got shot anyway. So seeing Ahsoka go through something similar to where she is getting shot at and survived it was a wake up call for my little mind to comprehend that I was that stuff, it might actually be real coming from a character in a show, and it made me feel a little bit more mature to figure that out at a young age. And as she continued to progress throughout her time, Ahsoka became a staple character and went through trials. There were phases in her story where she went from being this super energetic kid to being this stern teenager to being this well-mannered adult. But she's never lost her sense of humor. And now it's been 10 years since Star Wars Rebels, where she's like in her 40s now. And so for her to kind of take this kind of sage outlook on life made it a little bit more interesting for her character. So she gets a pass, in my opinion, that she gets a pass to act that way. And that is okay for her character in the show. But almost every character acted like that. It's like they couldn't get off this, you need to be the seriousest person in the room right now. But the thing is, Star Wars is fun. And even the characters who can be whiny, energetic, silly, noble, headstrong, stern, rebellious, all had their own kind of character emotion. Not everybody's emotion blurs together to be every character. And that's why I'm so hard on Sabine, because Sabine in Rebels, even though she was kind of calm, cool, collected, but she also has some artsy energeticness to her. To where, like, she went from her seriousness and her calm demeanor on the field, but the thing is, her calm demeanor on the field, she also had fun with. She had fun doing all the Mandalorian stuff that she was doing, and she had fun with her art, and she pulled pranks on Ezra and Zeb, to where it was still kind of goofy and silly to see her in that way. I didn't see any of that with this Sabine. I would have loved to see a little bit more of that part of the Sabine in her. And I know that she's been on her own, and Hera's doing her thing, and Ahsoka abandoned her and everything, and now she's just here. But the thing is, even when she's stabbed with a lightsaber, and she's like, but I can help, I'd rather have some more like sorrow in her voice. She just looked, that's it. She wasn't or damn it, she doesn't even have to curse, excuse my language, but she doesn't have to curse or anything. There needs to be more emotion in that. Like imagine your parent, or like your from between your parent and someone you look up to, besides your parents. But like your parents, you can get mad at and do the emotional stuff all you want. But with a mentor or someone you look up to, like a teacher, is telling you to stay in bed, you're like, but I can help. I can help. I'm not you. What you taught me, I can do the same thing. I can. You know, there's this feeling of like frustration, like your heart kind of breaks when you hear these words all the time. There was no backlash. She just accepted it. She just like a little kid whose parents just yelled at them to say sit down and be quiet, and they're like, okay, that's it. um the the entire like situation with Ahsoka the show was really cool. It felt like a little bit of Clone Wars and a lot of Rebels. Having to see like these two non Sith characters who acted a lot like Inquisitors to me was really interesting. I would love to find out what they could come up with those characters, because those characters were actually, they had interesting like dynamic in the way that they looked was really cool. Rest in peace to the guy who played the the guy who played Sith Lord Master guy. I can't think of his name right now. But but the characters just, they were all here the entire time. They were at this line of like monotone, and I'm like, I'm really invested on the edge of my seat on seeing the things. But the thing is, what I cared mostly about in the show, because I didn't have anything going on with the characters, or the characters weren't like the biggest part of the plot to me anymore, because I kind of accepted that so I can continue to enjoy the show, was the visuals. The visuals were beautiful. The wide shots, the angles, the music, which wasn't there, but everything in the visuals was beautiful. It was like watching Avatar, the Way of Water, Avatar, the first one, and it's those movies felt like you were there for the visuals, the characters, the colors, the creatures, the world that you see. That's what I was enjoying mostly in this show, because everything else was just kind of eh. The music felt eh. It didn't feel like, I mean, it had like one track, but the track was muffled by everything else that was going on in the show. I will say that Maris or Merrick, whatever his name was, I do not mind him, but and I knew that people wanted to have like they wanted to have like, you know, someone whoever this Inquisitor was to be someone important, which was every Inquisitor practically is of some importance. But this guy, we didn't get any hint of him being anybody, and we didn't get any hint of him being a Spectre. And I would have loved it if we heard some noise or something like that. Maybe I wasn't just paying attention enough, but maybe there was something that was going on that I just missed. And he said something or sounded like something before he was killed to indicate that he may have been a Spectre. But you know what? It was cool nonetheless. So it gets a pass for me.
What do you mean by pass, Master?
What I mean as Proxy is the fact that the characters in themselves and the things that were quote wrong about this show, there are things that get a pass for me that are in it that were more enjoyable, and what did I like about it, and not just what I didn't like about it. What I liked about it was the visuals. The visuals were great. The music was not enough for me to really enjoy it. Hayden Christensen coming back as Anakin Skywalker, great. I don't remember the guy's name is, but the guy who plays Ezra was cool. And the thing is, people are upset at the fact that he doesn't act like Ezra. He acted like Ezra. He to me was not the fact that he was perfect, but he was an acceptable Ezra. Him and Sabine's dynamic was interesting. I did not mind seeing these two on screen together because they're trying to get their chemistry. These two characters or actors don't probably haven't even like known each other until this film. I don't know. I haven't done that research, but this series. And they may have never worked together before. So having to see them also portray two characters that had this dynamic, you have to understand that real life and cartoons are going to act a little different. The characters are going to move around a little differently. And the show would have been a lot more interesting and a lot more enjoyable if there was a little bit more animated movement to the characters. Everybody kind of felt stiff. Like for me, I'm a very animated person. I move around, I talk, and I talk with my hands, and I move around kind of like an anime character. But that's just how I do things. And people from my job and people who know me to do that, to over exaggerate my movements. If I think that something's like, like what you just say, I'll raise an eyebrow this big and be like, kind of like The Rock. Or if I'm like really, really sad or something like that, I'll lower my shoulders and look at you like with a bunch of sad features. But you see that. And when you're watching a movie, you want to see the characters feel, but their feeling is always nowadays. Because do you really want this to be a strong, independent female woman? We've had strong, independent female women in movies before. And that's something that I loved about those movies. Not because it was a chick. The chick being a female was a little bit a part of it, because you never really seen a female fight an alien before, unless you're playing a video game and the main character just so happens to be female. Tomb Raider, which my stepfather loved the hell out of, and I actually sat down and started watching it. It wasn't the fact that I didn't like Tomb Raider or anything because it was a female character. No, it was just different. I grew up on the Tomb Raider with the double pistols and the blue tank top that she used to wear. And I think she wears it in the new one, but it's always dirty, so I can't really tell. But it gave me an opportunity to see it from a different perspective. Now she's like a new face of like Indiana Jones and the guy from Uncharted. She's literally on par with them when I think about storytelling from like Indiana Jones's movies and Uncharted's games. It feels like this is somewhere else in the world, and it's just that person. You know what I mean? This was supposed to be a review about Ahsoka, but the thing is, it's more of a rant about how movies and TV shows, video games have been destroyed because businesses are too afraid to continue to make a story that they love and not something to appease everybody. They think, oh, everyone's doing Fortnite, well, maybe we need to do Fortnite because it's the coolest thing right now. Not everything needs to have Fortnite in it. Not everything needs to have a battle royale. It worked for Fortnite because it was Fortnite, and it's cool to have a place like that in whatever you're doing, but not everything needs it. Not everything needs multiplayer. You literally took away the story mode of Call of Duty Black Ops 4 just because the multiplayer was the most important thing that was selling games. But the thing is, what happened to the people who actually enjoyed the story mode? I had to charge my phone. This whole entire story, sorry, this whole mess that businesses, giant companies, YouTube has destroyed the foundation
of what made things work. Do you know how hard it is for anybody to like anything anymore? I can't even like Star Wars that much because you guys are catering to these specific like you're putting off a checkoff list. Like, okay, here's a lightsaber, here is a blaster, here's a relatable character, and here is a spaceship. Okay, now what else can we put in it? Here's a strong, independent female woman who is only fighting to tell people that she's a strong, independent female woman. Here is a black guy. Here is another race, and another race, and another race, and another race, just to have them in there. Why? Oh, wait, hold up. Here's another person who just so happens to be gay. It's like you're checking off these lists. Like, that's not a cool algorithm. Star Wars is not about an algorithm. Star Wars is about giving hope to younger kids, to people who have lost their way. There are people who get attached to these books, these movies, these video games, and you guys are making it seem like you want to be on the right side of history. There is no right side of history. History itself is there to tell you what happened in the past. There are books and novels and history books that literally tell you of non-fictional things that had happened in these stories. I mean, in these timelines. And the timelines tell you why this stuff happened, why it was screwed up, and why things didn't need to be this way. History is supposed to teach you not to repeat it. Yes, nostalgia is great for bringing things to light. A lightsaber is nostalgic. Seeing a ship that you've seen in the world is nostalgic, but it also feels like you want it to be there just because. You don't want to put so much emphasis on it. In Ahsoka, the E-Wing, people were going nuts over that because they knew 3 things were going to happen out of it. Merchandise is going to pop up more often in the series around this particular timeline. And they're going to see it more in other things like comics and video games and stuff like that. That's what people want out of seeing the E-Wing. Imagine if they focus super heavily on it just because one person's like, oh, good, I like the E-Wing, yay. But then they're like, oh, this person likes the E-Wing. This person likes the E-Wing. Did you hear? This person likes the E-Wing. This person likes the E-Wing. Okay, we need to show this ship a lot more. Like, erase Ahsoka's ship and put the E-Wing right there because the E-Wing is the best thing ever. The E-Wing is this. The E-Wing is that. Shut up. It's just a ship. Oh, my kid doesn't want to hear the Slave One. My kid doesn't want to hear about the Slave One because that's like, that's offensive to black people. And so how is that offensive to black people when every single race were slaves at one point? Slavery isn't just owned by this part of history. It's owned by the past more often than not, and things that are still going on in different countries. What do you think's going on right now? People are becoming slaves, getting kidnapped. They do this every single day, and you think that it's going to be offensive if your kid hears the Slave One. Oh, people were getting mad over the fact that somebody was literally playing Dungeons and Dragons where they thought it was Satan magic and back in the day, or playing Doom because not because you're some person killing demons. He was literally there to stop demons from going to Earth. He's there to stop them. And yet you feel like you need to take them to Jesus. They need to know Jesus and stuff like that. Stuff like that, video game violence and all this stuff is literally why history is there to tell you that this right here shouldn't happen again, but you're doing the same thing, just calling it something different. It's the same thing. You took away the slave one's name just because you didn't want kids to think that slavery was cool and stuff like that. No, it was just a cool name for a ship. Can you live without it? Sure. Okay, that's fine. Calling it Boba Fett ship? Okay. But the thing is, to people who actually enjoyed the name Slave One, Rogue One, the Millennium Falcon, what happens if those become like, the Millennium Falcon becomes not okay for Native Americans because they don't like that because of the name Millennium Falcon? It could have been someone's name, but you think that that's like racist or some shit like that. If you start thinking that, what is wrong with you? Now you're just picking what you want to hear out of the pile and thinking that it's a bad thing or it's a good thing or something like that. It is not that serious. Oh my God. The point I'm trying to make is the fact that you guys are focusing on all these little things, but haven't even focused on what's going on in the movie. You feel like there's someone right there being like, okay, all right, Star Wars, lightsaber, blaster, gay character, all right, check, that's good, that's good. Oh, black guy, there he is. All right, here we go. Good stuff, good stuff. Oh, a lesbian couple this time. Oh, yeah, cool. Brownie points. Cool. Not everybody's doing that. But you keep making the movie about that to where people are focusing on those specific things. Who's this character? Are they gay? Who's this character? Are they straight? Who's this character? Is he black or is he just some other race that looks black? Who's this character? Who's this character? Or why is this going on? Who's that person? Are these two going to get together? Okay, that's a lot of stuff that's going on. But you're making it this kind of puzzle piece game that people are focusing in on. Like, they're not trying to see the full picture of the story that's going on because the story is weak. You've made the story super, super weak. So this is what everybody's focusing on. Are things accurate? Which is important, but now you're focusing on the wrong things. What was so appealing about A New Hope was the fact that it was about a boy who ended up being part of the galaxy, who was becoming a hero, and he ended up becoming a Jedi. And he destroyed the one thing that was terrorizing the world and the galaxy. It was, a hero's story, and it was continuing to go. And we saw this character go from being a farm boy on a desert farm to being a moisture farmer to being a rebel, and then at the end of it being a Jedi. His whole story was about him coming up with that situation, not everything else that was going on with it. He didn't care about who was gay and who was black, and they didn't talk about like, hey, since you're the one black guy, do you can you say the N-word? There wasn't anything like that. It was, okay, he was a boy with raging hormones, and he wanted to, save the world, get the girl. But then he found out the bigger picture was understanding who he was as a person and becoming a man in his own way. That's realistic. But if you're going to continue to focus on all these things, then that's all anybody's going to see. In in Harry Potter, what happens when everything is just a fan fiction? That's what it feels like. This all feels like how people write fan fictions. When people write fan fictions, they focus on one pseudo important thing. The one thing that they like. And most of the time in fan fictions, it's romantic fan fictions where they have two of their favorite characters get together. And what happens if these two characters get together, and what happens in the story because these two characters get together? Or they create their own character, and when they create their own character, they make that character better, stronger, faster than the previous characters. they'll make that character the strongest person in that world because they finally found like their version of what goes into who they would want to be in this story. They already understand the rules. They already understand how the things work in the books, in the movies, and all that stuff. But once they get a handle on their character, oh, he's also the chosen one. Oh, she's also like Harry. She's got the scar on her forehead, and she's 10 times powerful than him for some reason. And the thing about Harry fighting Voldemort, she also popped up right there and put her wand to attack Voldemort too, causing Harry to win, and then she disappeared and ran away before all the people can get there. And she's just better than him at every way, even though it's called Harry Potter and not Lucy Liu or Lucy Mary Sue. Sorry, Lucy Liu. And I'm saying Mary Sue ironically here. I'm not saying, oh, she's a Mary Sue, but a Mary Sue, or whatever you would say, even a guy Mary Sue is pretty much a fan fiction character to me. It feels very fan fictiony. It's the and that's where people, and even myself, have gone off from what fandom is. That's why there's an anime inspired live action show on YouTube called the Anime Crimes Division, talking about toxicity in fandom. I'll be hopefully writing a scripted version of this conversation because this is just stuff I'm getting off my chest. I've been going through so much, and when I look back and look at all these things, and it just feels like anybody who has a hand in it, come on, come on. Anybody who has a hand in something, or they just put they put this fan fiction like place in it, but the genre is being focused too heavily on these fan fiction things. That's why when people see the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare story, they feel like it's a it's a return to form. It's something that it's something that everybody can be like, they can finally get back on track. But then it goes into something else. People think about money and stuff like that, and I get it. I get it. Money is super important, but now you're desperate. Nothing feels right anymore. I played and finished Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and I felt like I would never finish it because I felt like it was going to be too long. But it was really, really short. I loved that game, but I give it like an 8 out of 10 because as much as I enjoyed it and I loved everything that was going on with the characters, because I've been trying to make my own video game for years. Who hasn't? But I saw this game and it was kind of what I was thinking of when I said I wanted to make like a demo of how I wanted my game to be, where I focused on the character, I focused on what the character can do in the game, and I focused on the character's abilities and what they can do in the game. And the overall animations and stuff that I wanted the character to do. But also in doing that, I saw that the story kind of dragged a little bit. It kind of was like you had really only 5 things that happened in Jedi Fallen Order. The beginning, which was amazing. Then you had the moment where I need to get back into my old roots, and then I find BD. So though that when you find BD and started getting his Jedi training. You could probably go there for and stay there for as long as you want until you upgrade yourself to be the best. Then you went into being super cocky because now you're a Jedi again, and now you're just doing too much. Then you go off and find out that you bit off more than you can chew. You find out that other people are lying to you, and you're starting to get way too cocky and think that you know better. And you wind up getting destroyed, your lightsaber destroyed, and feeling like all hope is lost. And then you find out that you know a little bit of nothing. You don't know enough, and yet you know you are not willing to learn. You know, you're willing to learn more and accept what happened, and you find redemption, which you also find your own lightsaber, a new lightsaber constructed to kind of show that now this part of you is this path of you is behind you, and it's time to do. It's time to move forward with your life. But you met like the Night Sister chick pretty early in. She was also the last person you see for like another chapter. There's not like some other things that you can do and go on these like missions and be like, okay, this is going on, that's going on, and then we go to Darth Vader. No, it's not like that. It's just the ending is right after this. It really was. And so when I looked at the first part of Jedi Survivor, I'm gonna say part 1 and part 2 of it, watching YouTuber make a part 1 and part 2 of it, just ended up making it to hey, Raya, cool it, please. That I didn't feel very connected to the Night Sister chick in Jedi Survivor because of that because we didn't really get a chance to meet her until practically the end of Fallen Order. So it just felt like I knew everybody for like a day, not a whole like month. Not so. I guess she would be the weakest out of the bond that you would have with these characters. Like I care more about the BD and ship pilot and Seer. But actually, I care more about the Inquisitor chick because you have more screen time with her than any of them, and Seer. But you can take the Night Sister chick out, and you wouldn't really mean anything, unless you know she helps you fight in the last, second to last battle, third to last battle. Anyway. You guys forget that the reason why TV shows and movies are failing is because you're not giving your TV show and movie any time to enjoy the story at all. If your story is based on focusing on someone coming out in their sexuality, then focus on that. But if the story has nothing to do with that, don't make that an arc in your story. If your characters already went through something like that, then that's all right. That's fine. But if your story doesn't have any way of calling for it, you're just putting it out of the blue, and it ruins everything that's going on with your character. If your character is LGBT, then they're LGBT. Cool. That means this person is relatable. Plus, this person knows magic, or is a Jedi, or is a cowboy, or a cowgirl, or whatever you affiliate yourself as. But regardless, don't force that to be the main thing for a story that didn't need to have that in there, and now you're just bleh, bleh. You're cramming that down everybody's throat. We get it. Now please stop making that a thing. Please stop making one character an absolute badass without giving them a reason to. Let it be known in the story why this character is like that. Not they just so happen to be better than everybody else. That's why with Miles Morales and Ironheart, there was so much debate going on. Because Miles Morales wasn't trying to be Peter Parker. He's trying to be Spider-Man. In the beginning, he was trying to be Peter Parker, Spider-Man, but he just needed, his whole story was to become just Spider-Man. While Ironheart, a lot of what I've read and what a lot of the reviews I've seen, Ironheart's trying to replace Tony Stark, be better than Tony Stark. The thing is, you can't take away a household name no matter who it is. That's like saying new Black Widow, it has blue hair, and she's trying to replace new Black Widow, and she's also non-binary, and she's also all these other things, yada, yada, yada. It doesn't work because everybody knows this is Black Widow, not whatever this is. This is just someone's written in fan fiction at this point. Black Widow is just like L from Death Note. L's just a name, but everyone still likes the first L. N, who was L's protege, became the new L in the one shot, and we have to respect that. You don't have to like it, but you do respect it. So Ironheart trying to replace Tony Stark is like saying someone who was your friend recently passed away, and then someone else who knew them kinda, but didn't really know them at all, just pretty much said that they want to be your new best friend. They try to do everything that your best friend did, and they're trying to replace them. You're not going to let that happen, no matter what they affiliate as. They're not Tony Stark. They're Kiki. I think that's what her name was. And she can just be Ironheart. That's perfectly fine. She's already a cool character. Her name's Ironheart. Her costume and her armor in the comics are really cool. I didn't really like the armor in the Black Panther 2, but I can say that I can respect it. It was interesting. Anyway, not everything I'm saying is so cut and dry, but I just want people to think. You know, don't try to make something that everybody else is gonna like. The thing is, you're not gonna be able to please everybody. That's why, what is it? Willy's Wonderland. Willy's Wonderland was practically like a test run for Five Nights at Freddy's. And the thing is, it wasn't trying to be Five Nights at Freddy's. It was just trying to be another take on a genre that we've seen before with like Chucky and anything Stephen King, where some sort of animatronic comes to life or something that possesses something comes to life and starts killing people. This one just so happened to be Chuck E. Cheese. Again. That's why I feel like Willy's Wonderland was a success. And they could have made a sequel, but they're not going to. It was just something fun that they were all going to do. And when they did it, now we're getting that Five Nights at Freddy's movie, right? So I feel like make something you would want to watch. Make something that you have been wanting to create. Don't try to just please everybody in the world, because it's not going to happen. George Lucas wasn't trying to make something that could please everybody. He was trying to make a world. He had a vision of seeing something become a reality, even if it wasn't perfect. it was still there, and he enjoyed it. It had its ups and downs, but we still got Star Wars. And everybody in the world who loves Star Wars has made their own takes about Star Wars. They've made their own takes on Star Wars. And that's fandom. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to check off your specific requirements. It has to be your requirements, not this person's requirements, not that person's requirements. If these two people aren't happy, but this person is, then you've done a good service. Yes, when it comes to the business side of it, you want as much money as possible so you can make a sequel or make merch and all those other things for whatever you're trying to create and produce. But the best way to get more money and why franchises were a lot more accepting of these particular things was because someone out there was making a story, a franchise that they wanted to. That's why Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, The Hobbit, Final Fantasy, Star Wars, Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, they are so popular. And yes, there are people that'll help you. It's not just on you. You have all these people out here trying to help you create something more, a little bit more on the lines of being like, okay, see, this right here doesn't seem to work well. Might want to rearrange it or change it up or take it out. And you take it upon yourself to be like, I'm going to change it up. Or, maybe you're right. I want to take it out. And you're just like, okay, putting stuff together and modify it just a little bit. It actually works for everybody who's looking at it. One of the people that I've enjoyed, rest in peace, Monty Ohm, who made RWBY and made the badass animation fight scenes from Red versus Blue. And he made Haloid and Dead Fantasy and Icarus. All these things that he did. He said he was really nervous on making RWBY and stuff like that and seeing what people would think. But he still made something that he wanted to create. And he did. And RWBY was a big success at that point in time. And people were ready to make fan theories on what this was, see more and understand what the heck's going on and why things are like this. He wanted to make it to where RWBY was what people cosplayed as, made it into a franchise where people could love it. And he did. He set out what he wanted to do. You know how cool it is to make exactly what you want and somebody actually likes it? Makes you feel really good. But you can't do that if you're trying to please this person, this person, this person, this person, this person, this person, this person. Please yourself first. Pause. And just let it be known that this is something you wanted to make. If this is the way you want to make X-Men, cool. Did it work out and no one likes it? You tried. Make it a little bit more like how it was in the comic books, and then put your own twist on it, and then see if you can make this particular arc in the comics, storyline in the comics, actually work for your side as well. And it worked out perfectly, and everyone loved it, even you. Cool. Then do that. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes if you're trying to get someone else's vision and trying to create your own, sometimes it doesn't work out, but you have to at least put in the attempt and respect the source material. Okay, that's all I'll say for this video. I'm tired and I gotta put this together, and my voice is going out. I'm not even gonna say like and subscribe. Just I hope you guys listened.